So, what is the real price of gold? And no, I'm not talking about the number you see flashing on a screen. I'm talking about the price of trust, the price of knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, where that gold came from and that the whole system that brings it to you actually works. Okay, let's dive into a story that shows just how fragile that entire system can be. I want you to imagine something. It's January 2026, and you wake up to this number. Gold isn't just hitting an all-time high. It's soared to an absolutely insane $5,600 an ounce. This isn't just a bull market, This is a market that is literally tearing itself apart at the seams. And this is the headline that sends an ice-cold shiver down the entire industry. The very core of the system, the refineries that melt and purify the world's precious metals, they're shutting their doors. They just can't handle it. The market is moving so fast, so violently, that their entire business model is completely broken. Now, let's be super clear here. This is a fictional scenario, right? It's a thought experiment. But it's one that's based on very real-world pressures. And honestly, it's a powerful way to get our heads around the incredibly complex global machine behind precious metals, and to see what happens when that machine starts to sputter and fail. Okay, what's just wild about this slide is the sheer speed of it all. Just look at this data. In a single year, gold doubles. It goes from around $2,800 to $5,600. And silver's even crazier. It nearly quadruples, from about $31 to $120. This is not a gradual climb. It is a full-blown parabolic explosion. And this is the part that really matters. This isn't just about numbers on a trader's screen anymore. The physical world, the real world, is grinding to a halt. You've got global refineries turning away scrap gold and silver. The US Mint has just stopped selling silver coins altogether. And that local coin shop down the street? They've got almost nothing left to sell, and they've stopped buying from people like you and me because who knows when they'll even get paid. So you just have to ask, right? How on earth does something like this even happen? What kind of perfect storm could make a system that's worked for centuries just completely seize up in a matter of months? All right, let's play detective and break down how this whole mess builds up. In our scenario, this crisis isn't caused by one single event. Nope, it's a rapid-fire series of disasters, all hitting the global market at the exact same time. First, bam, a massive supply shock. Mines in Venezuela that produce a huge chunk of the world's silver just stop. They go dark. At the exact same time, China, which refines most of the world's silver, bans all exports, locking down the supply that is left. Then you throw in a geopolitical crisis that sends everyone scrambling for a safe haven, right as industries like solar and AI are screaming for more silver than ever. It's just a brutal, perfect storm, a supply shock, a supply lockdown, and a demand shock, all at once. This chart does a fantastic job of showing the financial chaos that comes next. Think about it this way. Refiners often have to borrow metal to keep their business running, and the interest they pay is called the lease rate. Normally, it's tiny, like 1 or 2%. But in our 2026 crisis, it skyrockets to over 50%. At that rate, it's financially impossible to turn a profit. It's actually cheaper for them to just do nothing, which is exactly what they do. At the end of the day, that whole dark mine event exposes the system's single biggest weakness, a complete and total lack of transparency. When supply chains are murky, you can't trust where the metal is coming from. And in a crisis, that lack of trust doesn't just cause a few problems, it breaks the entire system. So that vulnerability, that question of where did this stuff actually come from, is the perfect bridge from our fictional disaster to the very real systems we have today designed to stop it from ever happening. This is all about building trust and transparency right into the DNA of the precious metals industry. See, on one side, you've got all the risks that a non-transparent system creates. Metal coming from conflict zones, being used to finance crime or to launder money. And on the other side, you have the solution, these big, comprehensive rulebooks from global organizations like the OECD and the London Bullion Market Association, the LBMA, which basically sets the gold standard for trading. And at the heart of all these rules is this 5-step framework from the OECD. It's a playbook every responsible refiner has to follow. Step 1, get your own house in order with strong management. 2, constantly scan your supply chain for risks. 3, have a solid plan to deal with those risks when they pop up. 4, get checked out by an independent auditor. And finally, number 5, report on everything you're doing publicly every single year. Now, a huge focus here is on what are called CAHRAs.
That stands for conflict-affected and high-risk areas. These are basically hotspots on the globe where there's a serious risk that mining money could be fueling conflict or human rights abuses. The goal isn't to just boycott these places, but to engage with them responsibly to make sure the gold is sourced ethically.
Okay, so rules and audits are great, they're essential, but they still leave one huge, fundamental question hanging in the air. In a super complex global supply chain, how can you be absolutely 100% certain that the bar of gold in your hand didn't start its life in a place like our fictional dark mine? Well, this is where things get really, really cool. The answer is technology. We're now at a point where science and software can give precious metals a unique identity that can't be faked, making its whole journey from the mine to the market completely traceable. One of the most amazing breakthroughs is something called geological fingerprinting. It turns out every single mineral deposit on planet Earth has its own unique chemical signature, kind of like a fingerprint made up of tiny trace elements. By analyzing a sample, scientists can prove exactly where that metal was mined. And that signature sticks with it all the way through refining, confirming its origin. It's incredible. And then you can build on top of that. Companies like CAHRAs Group are using optical AI to create a digital twin. What does that mean? Well, the tech scans the surface of a gold bar, which is unique right down to the microscopic level. The AI then creates a digital fingerprint from that unique texture. This isn't a serial number somebody can fake. It's the actual physical identity of the bar itself. And then, where do you put all this amazing data, the geological origin, the digital twin, all the shipping documents? You can store it on a blockchain. As this visual shows, think of it like a digital public ledger. Every time the metal moves, a new, unchangeable block of data is added to the chain. And because that chain is shared and verified across tons of computers, it creates a tamper-proof, totally transparent history for that one specific piece of metal. So, when you pull all this together, the rules, the audits, this amazing new tech, what does it all mean for the future of gold and, the value we place on it? For decades, the market has been dominated by paper contracts, financial promises where there can be hundreds of claims on a single ounce of physical gold sitting in a vault. But now, we're seeing this powerful shift. Investors and industries, they want the real thing. And more importantly, they want physical metal they can trust, with a verifiable, transparent history from start to finish. And we have to remember, the pressures that caused our fictional crisis, they are very, very real today. We see the potential for supply shocks all the time. We see a rise in resource nationalism, where countries hoard what they have. And we see this relentless, massive industrial demand from new tech. The system's fragility isn't just a fantasy. But the key takeaway here is that these new tools are becoming the guardians of the industry's integrity. It's like this powerful four-layered defense system. You've got the global rules providing the framework, and then you have this breakthrough tech that provides the proof through geological fingerprints, digital twins, and secure blockchain ledgers. Which brings us all the way back to our first question, but with a whole new way of looking at it. In a world that seems to get more uncertain every single day, maybe the true value of gold isn't just its price. Maybe it's the certainty that comes from knowing its entire story without a single doubt. So, what's the premium for complete and total trust?